Coach Carter, 2005, starring Samuel L. Jackson. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies basketball movie reviews. Coach Carter is the story of Coach Ken Carter in 1999, who goes back to his former high school in Richmond to coach the basketball team, using tough rules and academic discipline to get the team in shape, who last season only won 4 games. And as the team starts to become successful and seem to be on the path of a championship season, at some point, their grades start to slip.
This contract states that you will maintain a 2.3 grade point average. You will attend all your classes, and you will sit in the front row of those classes.
And because of that, Coach Carter pretty much suspends the basketball season, shuts everything down, no games, no practices, which causes a whole lot of controversy for the players, their parents, and pretty much the whole community. I saw this movie in 2005 when it first came out, and I was in my early 20s when I first saw it. And I've seen it once or twice since then, but I haven't seen it at all within the last 10 plus years. And that's coincidental because I have been retired from active play for the last 10 years. And the reason I bring that up is because when I first watched this movie in 2005, I was nearing my basketball playing prime. And so when I watched the movie, I saw it through the eyes of a focused basketball player who was obsessed with playing the game. And I remember thinking at the time that it was a good movie, it was okay, and I didn't regret seeing it, but my whole thought process was that it was kind of a preachy movie, and it was like, okay, yeah, great, just get to the basketball, bring the basketball action on. That was my way of thinking when I first saw the movie. But now watching it 10 plus years later, I have a whole new perspective about the movie. When I was done watching it, I just sat back and thought to myself, wow, in the very best way possible. So first let's talk about the cast. It's pretty much just a movie that stars Samuel L. Jackson and his team. Now, Samuel L. Jackson is charismatic as usual, and most of my favorite roles of his have to do when he's a serious guy who's kind of restrained and not really over the top. Those just are my favorite kind of roles that he plays, and he does that really well in this movie. You really buy him as a coach who believes in respect and discipline. And then his team is made up of actors who are probably in their 20s, who are playing high school students. They're not great actors as you would kind of expect, but that they're certainly not bad and definitely not like distractingly bad. They're completely adequate for the roles they play. But more importantly, their basketball skills and abilities are very good. When you're watching them, when you're watching the basketball they play, you really feel like you're watching well-coached, very talented high school basketball players play at a very high skill level. And in terms of the basketball in the movie, it's done very well. Every aspect of basketball in this movie is done very well. It's shot well, it's presented to us in a way that keeps us entertained and engaged. You can tell that a lot of the basketball in the movie is kind of scripted, but there's also lots of parts of it that's free-formed and freestyle basketball that they filmed as well. The point being that whether it's scripted or it's the free-form basketball they're playing, it was all done very well. It all feels very real and natural, and it's always entertaining and engaging to watch. But what I really liked about this movie in terms of the basketball was, while the basketball games are done really well, it was the practices that really got to me, that really spoke to me. Because Richmond High School is a typical inner city high school with typical inner city high school players. They like to run the break, they like to score, but that's about it. And Coach Carter, being a well-educated, disciplined man, realizes this, and so he spends most of his coaching time, his practice time, teaching them how to play disciplined, fundamental defense. And then offensively, he just lets them run and do what they do naturally while forming it into being an effective offense. But you should keep in mind that this story is not focused around basketball. The focus of the movie is trying to get these kids on this team to become educated, well-rounded, successful adults by getting them to college so they can improve their lifestyle. But basketball is a crucial part to learning how to do that and accomplishing that. Also, there are multiple storylines in this movie. There's Coach Carter and his team, and then there's multiple specific individual players on the team that have their own storylines as well. So you have 3 or 4 or 5 different storylines happening throughout this movie. And the way it's handled when you have that many storylines, it's done very well. The movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. It needs to be because of all the kind of storylines that are happening. The great thing about this movie is that all the storylines are done in a very organized way where it all feels like it's put together and organized well. The movie is paced very well. It never feels boring. It never feels like a scene is dragging on. It never feels like, when is this scene going to be over, or why is this scene in this movie? Everything feels like it has its place. Everything feels like it's given the right amount of time, and all of the storylines fit in together very well. I was very impressed how they fit all of that together, and even though the movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, you never get bored, and it feels shorter than it really is. So Coach Carter is obviously a very good movie. I can't think of anything significant that I could complain about in this movie. Everything was enjoyable, everything was engaging, everything was entertaining, and I think it's a movie that could appeal to all ages, not little kids, because there is some swearing, even though the swearing issue is actually addressed by Coach Carter in the movie because of, trying to be respectful people and men. The little bit of swearing that is in the movie does get actually addressed by Coach Carter at some point in the movie. And there is a gun violence scene that takes place. So probably not little kids, appropriate for them, but preteens, tweens, whatever the term is nowadays. Anybody that age and up, it's completely appropriate. And what I thought was even more compelling, something that's just great about this movie, is that it seems that the older you get, the more life you experience, the more this movie will resonate with you as you grow and experience life and figure out that words like respect and discipline really have actual applicable meanings to your life, that those words actually mean something. They're not just coach speak, they actually apply to everyone's life. Coach Carter also accomplished exactly what it was trying to do. It told the story of Coach Carter and that team in that season. It did that very well. Some of it's over the top because it's Hollywood, like some of the basketball scenes where they're dunking all over the place and throwing alley-oops all over the place. That's kind of over the top, but it was still entertaining. I don't know how often people are throwing up alley-oops in high school basketball, but it accomplished telling the story of Coach Carter and that team in that season. But more so than that, another reason why this movie is so great is it probably accomplished inspiring, at least hopefully inspiring coaches, future coaches, to help their teams become respectful, disciplined players and people, to value not just playing the game the right way, but also becoming educated and making better of your life by going to college or going down whatever path is best for them to become a well-rounded, successful person, not just on the court, but years after in life. Also, hopefully it's inspirational to players as well. If you're an older person, if you're a coach or someone who's at an older age and you're showing this to younger players, don't be surprised if they really don't get it, if they're not really into it as much as you would like them to be. like I said, when I saw this in my 20s, I was just kind of like, yeah, get to the basketball action. This movie's kind of preachy. I just want to see basketball. But now, being removed from the game, I now look at this movie and go, this is great. All the messages about discipline and respect and trying to grow and become a better person and be successful at life in general. I love those ideas now that I'm removed from that situation of being an active player just focused on playing the game. And so hopefully if you show this movie to younger players, hopefully they'll get the message of respect and discipline and becoming successful off the court as well. Hopefully that message will sink into them deeper and sooner than it did with me, and if that's the case, then not only did this movie accomplish what it was trying to do as far as telling Coach Carter's story in that season, but hopefully it inspires coaches and players for generations to come. So I obviously think that you should see this movie. It's a must see. It's a must experience. It should be on your watch list to view it as soon as you possibly can, especially if you haven't. But even if you have, if it's been a long time since you've seen this movie, you should give it another chance and see if your perspective has changed and how it may resonate deeper with you now that you're older and have experienced more life. I think that was one of the reasons I am so obsessed with this movie right now, is because how much my perspective has changed and how much more it means to me now that I'm more experienced at life than I was in my early 20s. Also because this movie is so well balanced, so all the different storylines, the way they're told, the way they're organized, it all feels balanced. The pacing of the movie, it all feels balanced. Not only that, but it's obviously a drama, but it's not one of those depressing, feel bad kind of dramas. It's inspirational. It's an inspirational kind of drama. But also there's comedy, there's humor, and it's sprinkled all throughout the movie, and it feels balanced. So you have the drama, the inspirational drama of the movie, and then you have the comedy that's not only done by the sort of the wisecracking players on the team, but there's also some comedy done by Coach Carter as well, and it really feels balanced. So you're not just getting the drama, you're not just getting comedy. So you're getting a well-balanced, well-paced combination of inspirational drama with comedy, and it just feels so balanced that you kind of lose yourself in the movie. It's another reason why, even though it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, it doesn't really feel that way. So thank you guys for watching this review. Like I said, go see this movie. Seek it out, put it on your list. Don't save it so that you watch it later. No, put it on a priority list to watch it as soon as you can. Whether you've never seen it or it's been a long time since you have, you need to go see this movie. All that being said, honestly, I have this feeling that I should give Coach Carter an A-, only because if I were to give it an A, it would seem like that's kind of unattainable. Like this movie isn't perfect, and I don't think it is perfect, but there's also nothing major that I can criticize. There's certainly nothing major that I felt was a complaint about this movie. And so I give Coach Carter a straight up A. It gets an A. In my 20s, I probably would have given it like a B- because it didn't hold the kind of value that it does to me now, even though at the time I was an active player and now I'm not. I was so focused on playing the game that I kind of took the rest of this movie for granted. The values, the respect, the discipline, I kind of took that all for granted. And so at the time I probably would have given it a B-. But now, sort of taking it into a much bigger picture, having experienced basketball in college, in high school, having been through my 20s and teenage years, and realizing that respect and discipline have much more value than I originally thought, seeing it now, straight up A. Easy A. If you guys enjoyed this review, please give me a thumbs up and hit that notification bell so you're notified of the rest of the movies on this Esquire.com best basketball movie list. I think we're inside the top 5, so we don't have many movies left, but make sure you're notified when those reviews come out. And if you could hit that subscribe button as well, that really helps me out. And until the next review, I will see you guys then.
We East champs, dog, get it right. Trust you wanna play, bring your ball and your nights, let's go.